Hello, everybody. This is Jessica, and I just wanted to share with you my process when wanting to create a new album project using stories that have already been lived. So, maybe it's a trip that you took and you have photographs from it and you have journaling. Maybe you want to create a compilation album like what I'm doing here. Maybe it's just past project life projects. This approach is best suited for, like I said, doing an album that features stories from the past. And this is not how I would approach a current project life storytelling. And this is not how I would approach a week in the life project or a day in the life or something like that, where I'm living it, I'm documenting it, I'm working on it in at the same time. This is not how I approach December daily. This is just for stuff that's already happened, and I am going back and documenting this. So this is a 9x8 Canva file, and the purpose of this file is to create pages for a sports album. I'm creating two sports albums, one for my daughter and one for my son. Like I said, they're 9x12. And I was incredibly inspired. I've been incredibly inspired over the years just watching Allie document all of Anna and Audrey's volleyball adventures. I love compilation albums. So I love having one album that tells a similar story through the years. We have an album, it's a 6x8 album, and it features all of our trips to a local pumpkin farm. We go there every single year. We've been going there since 2013, and each trip is featured within, a couple of pages in that album. And it's so fun to sit and look and see the change and the growth, not only in our family size, but just in the ages of everyone involved from the beginning. And it's really fun. So I wanted to have a special sports album. So this sports album, the purpose of it is to include all sporting adventures that my children go on. So currently they are young enough to where they're doing little league or, local rec soccer. In my son's case, they have not reached the school level of sporting activities yet, although my daughter might try track this year. I'm super excited. So we're still doing little league and rec kind of stuff. But this will also house, any school activity related sports. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the thing I do first when I'm compiling or getting ready to start a project like this. So step one is to gather the photos, gather the words. And I do that in a couple of different ways. So I have several Google Docs. So you should be seeing my sports album for A and E. So I have Abigail and Ethan, and I just call them A and E for short. But this is a Google document that I keep all of their sporting stories in. Now, when I started this project, I did not have this document. I went through my social media posts and I collected, like, when did I post on social media? Did I send any text messages to family and friends about, games that happened, something that happened maybe at practice, or other things that I remembered that I had written down, like things that the coaches said when giving out game balls, things like that. So any of those things, I compiled all that stuff together. I also wanted to start the album for each one of my children with a letter to them. So I have a letter here to Abigail. And I have a letter down here to Ethan. Those are going to be printed on 6x8 vellum pieces and just put into a 6x8 page protector in the very beginning of their album. So gathering up the stories that I had already told so I didn't have to retell them. You can see that literally I copied the entire post. I added the date in which it was posted on social media. I even copied the hashtags just in case I wanted to incorporate them somehow. And let's see, I think that I may have even, coaches post in Little League groups and they talk about the games. And I think I included some of those in here as well. And I just notated, post on Facebook from another parent or post from Coach Cody. And I included the date. And then that way I could include those words also in the album and kind of attribute it to that person as well. I want to provide a place that has a lot of content. A very robust memory keeping project is what I am kind of, my goal is. I want photos. I want photos of things. I will show you what I mean by that. I want words from other people. I want stories from myself. I have asked Abigail if she can provide to me a couple of particular things, like what was your favorite moment from All Stars? What was your favorite, like what do you want to remember about your first softball season? And she really hasn't provided those things to me. So I didn't push her. I asked her once. She didn't give me anything. So I'm moving on. But I will continue to ask as I approach different sporting seasons or different things. And if they happen to say anything to me, I'm going to include those words here as well. So that's how I address the words. Okay, so I compile them all right here. You can put them in any type of document that you want to. You can put them in a Canva file. You can use a notes app, whatever works for you. This is just what I do, and it has served me well over the years. Let's take a look at my overall. This is a look at my Google Docs. I have lots of Google Docs. I create docs for lots of different things. They're project specific sometimes. So this is all the words from Disney World 2021. I'm doing an Us Right Now album project I'm getting ready for this summer. I'm going to do it in place of Week in the Life this year. So I've started that document. I have just a general Dear Abigail document. These are all stories about Abigail throughout the years. I have got Project Life by the year. So I do Project Life documenting throughout the year. I have obviously not started a 2025 Project Life file, but because I'm not up on currently doing Project Life successfully, I just keep a document that has all of my thoughts and words in it for the year, and then I'm able to access it pretty easily. I've got random school memories for the kids' school albums. I've got, December stories. I've got all kinds of things in Google Docs. It really works for me. I can access it on any device on my phone. Yeah. So this is how I collect my words. How I collect my photos is I use Dropbox. So Dropbox is an app that you can put on your phone. You can also access it on all these devices. Dropbox can also be accessed in Canva. So you can have your Canva file open and you can go to apps and link up to your Dropbox account and then pull your photos straight in from there without having to download them ahead of time to Canva. There are some little annoying things that continue to happen to me when I do that from Dropbox, and I will kind of try to show that to you and give you my workaround. But so in general, Dropbox, I have a ton of folders in Dropbox. I've got year folders, I've got kids' school folders, I've got project folders. So I tend to keep all of the story album folders in a story albums folder. So let's open this up here. You'll see that that is not the folder I wanted to open. Here we go. So story albums. These are active albums that I collect photos for, that I've got going on. I've got, a photography album. I've got a motherhood album, home improvements, just random friends photos. I think that was actually my daughter friends album. But up here, I've got an A sports and an E sports, and I named them with double zeros so that they appear at the top of my list. So let's go into the E sports one because it is like the most, it's ideally organized. A sports is just kind of dumped into. So let's look at esports. So in this folder, I'm going to change it to the grid view so you can see a little bit better. I've got two folders inside of esports. I've got a baseball 2024 and I've got a soccer 2023. E is my son, Ethan. So he has only done two sports. And so I've got the photos organized in here. Soccer is, I spent every single soccer game taking photos. I just roamed the field and took a ton of photos. So this is just a drop in the bucket of the photos for the season when Ethan played soccer. So as I edit them, I drop them into this folder, and then I also drop them into a Canva folder. So that's why there doesn't really appear to be a ton in here, even though this to some people might be a ton. It's just not a ton to me because I take a boatload of photos. And honestly, I think all of these photos was from his first game. Yeah, these are all from his first game. So all right, let's go back to esports. You will also see that there's a baseball folder, and here are the edited photos from his baseball season. And I'm pretty sure that most of these are already done in Canva. So this is what my Dropbox folder looks like. Well, let's just go ahead and look in Abigail's. It's kind of a mess though. Let's see, A sports. Here we go. And all right, we've got a 2024 softball all-stars folder, a 2024 softball fall ball, a 2024 softball spring, and a 2025 softball juniors spring. So her juniors spring season really hasn't started. We've just done some opening ceremonies, but there are photos in each one of these folders from that particular season. And I pick from here what I want to actually go into Canva. So I would go in here and I would select whatever I wanted, and then I would download, and then I would upload that into Canva. So with that being said, let's look at how I organize the Canva folder. Let's see here. I'm going to close this. We don't need to see Google Docs anymore. All right, photos in Canva. Because I'm a pro Canva user, I'm able to create as many folders as I want. And it's super helpful because I created a photos folder, and it was just a spot where I could upload specific photos to Canva that I knew I was going to use in a specific album. I would not do this for Project Life. But let's say, I already know what photos I want to use for these sports albums. So I created a folder right here, eSports. If we open it up, it kind of looks similar to the Dropbox folder. There's a soccer one and there's a baseball one. And inside here are the soccer photos that are edited and ready for use. I did not put any unedited photos in here because I do not want to accidentally put unedited photos on in my Canva document. So same thing with baseball. These are the edited photos from Ethan's baseball season that I wanted to use in his album. Okay, so let's actually go and look at the album now. All right, so after I've gathered all my photos and all my words, then I need to decide what album size I want to actually go with. And like I said, super inspired by Allie and all of her volleyball documenting. And I also really loved the 9x12 album that she used. I will be doing pocket pages. So these are going to be individually printed as 4x6s or 3x4s or whatever configuration of pockets that are going to go into this album. That's how they're going to be printed. It's not going to be printed as one 9x12 sheet. So I chose a 9x12 album. I needed it to be able to hold years worth of stuff and have a variety of page protector sizes that could be added. And I love that you can add in 6x8, you can add in 6x12, you can add in a variety, 4 by 8, a variety of page sizes. So I chose this size. So then the next step was, once I knew what size album I was going to use, I created the Canva file. And I just went to, new, custom size, 9 by 12 inch file. And I can mock up all of the page protectors in here. So once I created that file, I created all of these pages down here. And so let's look at this for a second. So this is a 6 by 8 page. Maybe it's got 3 photos. Maybe it's printed as a 6 by 8, or maybe it's printed as 3 4 by 6s. It just really depends on what page protector I'll be using and how I want to back it. If I was going to back it with this photo configuration, the whole thing would print as a 6 by 12, and I think I said 6 by 8. I'm sorry, I meant 6 by 12. This would print as a 6 by 12. Oh, and see, my page right here name is wrong. So anyway, I like to also name my pages so that whenever they export, this is the little file name that exports with them. And it's also a description of what the file is. So then this is a page protector setup. We've got the 2 4 by 6s, the 3 3 by 4s in the center, and the 3 by 4, one on the top and one on the bottom. So what I did, once I figured out I was doing a 9 by 12, I made the file and I configured all of these pages. Then I started finding art that I wanted to use, art that I already had on file, art that maybe came from my stash. Maybe it came from the new fan, the fan story kit that was recently released. But I went through, I looked at different files from Ellie Edwards mostly, and I placed the words and the images and the cards, anything I found that I thought would be appropriate for this, I put it on several pages in the very beginning of the album. I also dropped in some, journaling cards and some quote cards. Anything that I thought that I would want to use, I threw into this album. And keep in mind, this was all done before I started putting photos in. Okay, so at this point, I would have a file that had all of these pages up here, and it had all this art, and then it would have all of these pages down here. And that was the beginning of the album. And then I went in and, made a 6 by 8 right here. I made myself a note that says this is a vellum insert. This is my letter to Abigail. And then I just kind of started off by, filling in these spots. And once all the spots were filled in, then I decided to print some stuff. Now, I don't have a big chunk of time that I can just sit down and scrapbook. I do not do that. I have 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there, and fly past the computer and, add something that has come to my mind for just like a brief second, make one edit, add something, change the color of something, make a grid, something like that. I will make a grid or my page layout on the computer, and then I'll go sit on the couch and watch a movie with my kiddos and, drop in the photos and adjust them. So this particular page right here, let's look at this. See how it says team photo 5 by 7 printed? I have that. It's physical. I'm not going to scan that in and then reprint it. I'm not going to scan it in and make a mock-up page, but I wanted to include it in the album. So I decided that on the back side of the 5 by 7 photo, I was going to create this spot right here. So let's see. This is 8.64, so a little over 8.5 wide and a little over 6 inches tall. So that's going to print that size. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a white piece of paper that is the same size for the back of that. And then I'm going to mount the 5 by 7 photo that's printed as the team photo, and I'm going to mount that on the other side and use a page attacher to attach this into my album. There's, probably going to be a little bit of white around the edge, might be a little bit more on the bottom than there is on the top. I'm just going to have to, check it out whenever I get it physical. So that is how I address things that are already printed, but that I still want to include in the album and I want to plan for it, is I just measure it and then I create something that's going to go on the back of it. So let's go and let's talk about, I'm just gonna go down here real quick. I wanna show you the two different ways you can pull photos in. All right, so we're gonna go to this page. And I wanna access my Dropbox account. So I'm gonna go over here to apps, click on apps, go right up here and just type in Dropbox or drop and it'll pop up. Dropbox. It's already connected to my Dropbox account, so I don't need to worry about that. It's showing some of my Dropbox folders in no particular order whatsoever. So in the search area, I'm just going to put in the word sports because I know that the folder that I'm looking for has the word sports in it. I'm going to choose Ethan's folder right here. I'm going to choose soccer. Do you see how it's like thinking about showing me the photos? Oh, it's still thinking. It's not populated all the way, but oh, and then you get this evil message. We were unable to carry out the search request at this time. Please check your connection and try again later. I have a very stable internet connection right now. This should not be happening. So the connection between Canva and Dropbox, oh, I'm offline. Well, that's also very weird because I'm not actually offline, but maybe, I mean, it's kind of windy outside. Maybe there is a little hiccup. I'm not really quite sure. Oh, I'm back online. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully my video is still recording. So this is very frustrating. And I get this a lot in Dropbox. Sometimes it works beautifully and sometimes it does not. So that is why I chose to put the photos in a photos folder in Canva because it's very easy. I just go over here, I scroll around. I've already accessed it. So it's right here. It's a photos folder. All the photos that I have dropped into that folder are here. I can go to esports. Do you see how quickly and beautifully it's loading? All these photos are available to me. It doesn't matter how quickly I scroll. They're all here, okay? It's not going to lose connection because these photos are already saved in my Canva account. So this is why I chose to create a photos folder for this specific album. I don't do this for Project Life. Like I said, I think that you should only do this if you are working on something that you've already lived. You've already edited your photos. Now, I mean, to do this for like Week in the Life or any of those big projects, yes, absolutely. I do this for that also, for December Daily. Once I've edited all my photos, I dropped them into a December folder on Canva to make putting them in my album process very smooth and wrinkle-free. So once I got to a point to where I'm just going to close this. Okay. I was ready to print some things. Okay. I kind of disassembled, not really, that's a bad term. I picked this photo because it's going to print as a 4x6. I picked that photo. I just copied that photo. I went over here to a 4x6 print document that I have. It's just a Canva file that's saved at 4x6 size. I open a new page. I pasted. Okay. And I went through and I did that for all of my 4x6 photos. All right. Now I always print with persnickety because they're amazing. Their quality is really great. Their time is fast. I can buy print credits. They were reasonably priced. So I did that for all of my 4x6s. Okay. The majority of them are the photos. I kind of forgot what I was doing here and I did this here as well. This is not a photo, but all of the non-photo items or the 3x4s. So this little spot right here, 3x4, or when I have a collage like this, when I wanted a little bit more control over whether or not it was going to enlarge it or cut off the side or whatever. Because with 4x6s, you know, the photo gets enlarged a smidge and then it gets printed, or a white border gets slapped on top of it and you lose just a tiny little bit around the edges. So if I want to have complete control over how my photos get printed, I chose to put them on a 12x12 canvas in Canva. So this is a 12x12 print document, and you can see right here I name it print 12x12. The other one is named print 4x6, and I have various other print documents as well. And so I put them all in here, and then I export or I save. I do a share I do download. I change this to JPEG. I increase the quality to 100%. I make sure that the page range is chosen. If I only wanted page 1, I would just choose this, or I'm sorry, I just clicked outside, but I would just click page 1 and then I click download. Okay, so that's how I get these pages out of Canva and ready to upload to Persnickety. So this particular page, these are all white background cards, and I didn't want to add a stroke to them. I wanted just to be able to see where the edge was. So I just put a light gray rectangle or square on my page, and it'll print like this, and I will know that I just need to cut on the edge. If the photos did not have a white background, then I just put them on the white 12 by 12. This one right here, this is a 4 by 6 that has a white background, so I just threw a little gray square behind it and adjusted that. So that is how my 12 by 12 document is set up. I added little yellow hairlines to tell me where I need to cut, so that if I cut on this line and I cut on the edge of this yellow banner, it will be 6 inches wide for my album. Otherwise, I'm just going to cut on the edge of the photograph here. This right here doesn't matter because it's just cut off anyways. Okay, so this is how I gathered together all of the non 4 by 6 items for this 9 by 12 album. So these print on a 12 by 12. I use print credits that I've already purchased through Persnickety when they were on sale, and then I just redeem them whenever I place my print order. And then whenever these pages come, I just cut them all apart. So that is where I'm at currently. You can see that I still have a ton of work to do in this album. My goal was to get Abigail's softball ready to go and done before this season's softball begins. This page, it's not done. I still have things to do. I need to make a card that encompasses her number for the season. I need to add this little like black label back here. I need to reformat this text. I have no idea what I'm going to put here. Probably the story of, you know, their pizza party that they had at the end. I need to edit these. I actually forgot to edit these, so they're really dark right now, and this is just going to print as one whole sheet, and then it's going to be backed with this sheet right here. I want to reset the schedule because I don't really care about these other games. I only care about the yellow games. So I'm going to reset those myself and maybe indicate, you know, the score at the end. And so that will be done in this area. So this page isn't done yet. Some of this is done. I printed this, I printed this, I printed everything except for this yellow box right here, because these are the things I want to talk about in this yellow box, but I haven't formatted them. I haven't actually written the real words that are going to print. I just made myself some notes. I want to talk about how there were 2 Abigails on the team. It was a large team, intense practices. They won 4 out of 9 of their games, you know, things like that. So I just kind of made myself some notes here so that when I have a couple minutes or my brain thinks about, oh, this is what I want to write, I will go ahead and pop into the file and add the story right there. Okay, so this is where I'm at, and there's still a lot to do, and that's okay. This is going to be an ongoing album for a while. Okay, I haven't done a ton for Ethan's soccer. Most of his baseball is done, with the exception of his, like, all the photos are going to be printed, I believe. But obviously, I still have lots of text I need to write right here. I need to do some formatting. I need to do a lot of things for little Ethan's baseball. This is going to be a 6 by 12 that gets printed, and I'm going to talk about the different, you know, people in his life that came to all of his games and how he is incredibly supported and loved when doing things. Okay, so I did drop in, you know, his favorite. I asked him, hey, what were your favorite moments? And he told me one of them, and I just threw that in a text box on the page. So this is the kind of stuff that I do. My pages do not just instantly look, you know, final. They go in various stages of, I don't know, creativeness throughout the process. I just throw my ID on here, and then I come in whenever I have a chance and I make something happen. So if you have any questions about my process or any of the things that I pointed out here, please let me know. I would love to hear what your process is. Like, did any of this help you? Do you do something similar? Do you do something completely different? I think that by sharing our process, it's not necessarily, I'm not trying to tell you that you need to change what you're doing and you need to do what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm sharing with you what I do so that maybe a portion of it will spark an idea for you so that you can then find what works for you. You know, expose yourself to different things. And then along the way, you might gather up like little bits of things from multiple people and you make something of your own process that works. So once I have some photos, I'll be posting some photos online and giving an update as to how the album comes together in like real life, like tangible photos in an album. So thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I'll see you soon.